Crazy. Man like Neeks, my brother is here. What you saying, my guy?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. Listen, Frankie de Jong, 60 million if you're including add-ons and all that. Listen, that's good. That's good business. That is good business. And that's one reason why I've just been a bit relaxed this transfer window. Not complacent. I don't think Man United are in any position to be complacent. But as fans, we just need to be a bit relaxed. We've got a new structure, and it was always going to be. There's always going to be teething problems. I'm not even saying there was massive teething problems, but I think there's always going to be teething problems when you bring in a manager so late into the previous season. Not much time for him and the scouting team, etc., to plan about the transfer targets like other clubs have been able to. So there's a reason why I know George has mentioned it last night on the show. Why he's going after players that he knows, because him and the scouting team and the director of football, they haven't had long to think of a new transfer list. And on top of that, De Jong is his main target. And you want to make sure you get your main target. If that's where the hub of and it's a central midfield. So your team is going to be revolving around his target. So he's doubly important. And to get that down to 56 million plus add-ons, I think is a great deal. And I think it's something that will benefit us, not just in terms of the playing style and the ability on the field, but in future transfers, maybe even this summer, knowing that we can't be just taken for mugs. We have to be willing to kind of grind out these transfers so teams know, Man United ain't going to bow down. This is a new regime. They're not just going to pay up what we want at the beginning and then suffer later. We need to suffer now to make sure we benefit later. So well done to the new structure and board and getting this player on board. I do believe, though, that once this is completed officially over the line, I think there's going to be a few more that come through a bit more quicker because they're not as high profile, coming from as high profile clubs.
Yeah, of course. And look, Barca have delayed this by a fair bit of time. There was a report yesterday that the manager kind of told players that he hopes to have at least 2 new signings for them before they go away to pre-season. Our squad want new blood. They want new players. They're not stupid. They know what they need as a collective group. They know what they need. They know what they need to come into the football club. And this is why, listen, I know, I remember when the Young news first came out, and I remember we were live on the air when we spoke.
Oh, yes. I didn't believe it. They were like, who was it? Was it Gerald Moreno? I said 95%. I said, no, 9.5%. We ain't getting it. It wasn't happening.
But listen, and I got why people felt like that, because obviously it was like how after the season that we've had. And I think, yes, there's a lot of work's gone into this deal, but it's a knock-on effect from this. And I think Eriksen plays a big part, because Eriksen is the second midfield player that we want. If we don't get him, we need to spend money on a second midfield player. That takes away from potentially the Sandro Martinez deal or Anthony, because they're big money. But if the knock-on effect now is Eriksen says yes, I think that leaves enough money with a few sales for Anthony and Alessandro Martinez. And suddenly you bring in those 4 players as a collective first summer, promote a couple of youngsters, get Martial and maybe Donny back playing in the team. I feel really relaxed going into the new season. We're not complete. We still need more. But it's the first summer of the rebuild. We can't expect to have 9, 10, 11 new players in this complete squad.
And I don't think 9, 10 new players will do well. Like to put them all into one transfer in one transfer window straight into the team. That is actually worse than sticking with some of these players who I guess some people will say are not good enough, or some will just say they've had a bad season, they need to get back on it. I think there's a number of players here, a lot of them who don't need to be sold. They just need to play better because they've already shown that in the past they can. I think with the Eriksen one, that would be a good signing. I personally, I want 5 in total. That's 2 midfielders, a defender, and a forward. So, and plus Eriksen, that would make 5. Obviously, I know that football don't always work exactly how we want. But if we can get an Eriksen, a Martinez, and an Anthony, Martinez being as versatile as he is, it's a jack of all trades kind of thing. I don't study him proper, so I don't know how good he is. Can he nail down one specific position? But to have him as an option at left back, at centre back, and if Frankie de Jong gets injured, for example, as a defensive midfielder, or maybe in cup competitions as a defensive midfielder, I think that is vital, because the worst thing that can happen is you get Frankie de Jong, you say, that's going to be our playmaker from deep. Then he gets injured, and it's back to McTominay and Fred. Like, we cannot have that. We need to have some real backup in that position. So I would love to pip Arsenal to Martinez because of his versatility. And Anthony, I'm actually more confident of the Anthony than anything else because he's desperate to come. He's like, Ajax, please let me talk to Man United. I think I haven't read this myself, but fans were saying that when Ten Hag left Ajax, he kind of said, "Yeah, you're coming with me." By the way, and that was the kind of known from day one. It's just about again negotiating a fee that's suitable for us. I think the Anthony one should happen, especially as we're not going to get a striker this summer. So once it's officially over the line, I think we could rattle for you a few more. If you get 4 new players before the season starts, with still a month to go before that, so transfer window closes, I would say that's a good summer.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that the deal about Anthony that really, again, it was one of these little things that impresses me. We wanted Darwin Núñez, we didn't get him. And then the word straight away was there isn't another number 9 target who's high on the priority, who fits the profile and the talent ID. Ironically, we're moaning about the man that doesn't go for anybody that isn't a ex-Ajax player. The first player we went for this summer, it was Darwin Núñez. Like that's kind of been forgotten about now, right? But then the reaction was, well, we'll go for our number 1 target as an inside forward winger, as opposed to signing number 5 on the list as a number 9. That's not been the approach with Man United for 9 years. The approach has been, well, let's see how far down the pecking order we go. And like sometimes in boxing, the main fight gets called off and the only fit and available fighter is like ranked number 9 in the world and it becomes a bum fight. Like we do that with our transfer signings. We end up making these bad matches that don't really work, that managers don't really want, and it's created some problems at the club. So look,
but you look at Liverpool, and I'm not saying these players are of the same level. You'd hope that some of them could get there, but in the summer that they wanted to get Van Dijk, they didn't get him. They kept Coutinho. They didn't sell him that summer, and they did the business in January because that's who they wanted, and they weren't going to budge until that player was no longer available. Then you say, all right, let's move on. But you don't just defer your targets because you can't secure the signing in that summer. Last year, and obviously they suffered in the first half of the season. They were struggling defensively, and then Van Dijk comes in and things change. Last season, also the season before, where they had all those defensive issues, just go out and get a centre-back. But they wanted Konate, and they couldn't get Konate in the January, so they had a loan with Kabak, and they paid $2 million for Davis or whatever his name is. And then they went and got Konate in the summer, and you saw the impact of Konate in last season for Liverpool. Now, if they went out and just bought their 3rd, 4th, 5th choice centre back whilst their first choice was still there, then again you suffer in the short term, but you don't. Or you say you might benefit in the short term, but you suffer in the long term because he's not the one. I'd rather suffer in the short term to make sure Man United benefit in the long term, and I like the way so far how we've started this transfer window in terms of being adamant in who we want to get, what price we're willing to pay, and not budging on that. And I think when you see the other clubs who either are desperate to sell or the players are desperate to come, you have to take advantage of that as a club like Man United.
No doubt at all. Neeks, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Speak soon, bro. Take care, my guy. Thank you.